So we're going to do something a little different today outside the usual scope of Altoona Adventures. I want to start a new project. I don't want to get too far deep into it now, but to start it, it's going to show the how-to of kind of how I do this. If there's anybody that might be interested in that, and if anything, you can just kind of see how this process works from the beginning to the very end of this project. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a scanned paper map and remove the background from it, and it'll be a little transparent overlay, and we'll kind of go into final product, what it can be used for. So to start, we'll go to our scanned paper map. Now I'm going to open up in Photoshop, and throughout this I use a combination of free programs and paid programs. This is just how I learned how to do things, so even though I'm using Photoshop, you could probably do the same thing in GIMP or an Affinity program, Paint.net, something that's probably more cost effective. I'm sure the process works the same and all of that. So to begin with, you just have this little remove background thing that pops up. I don't remember this in older versions, but I tried that to begin with since it's new, and yeah, it doesn't do what we want it to do. It doesn't really remove the background, just some of the corners. So we'll take that back off. Now what I do to remove the background is I go to select color range, and then I go to this color picker here, add to sample, and then we just go through selecting all these pixels, get different variations. We want to get as much of this background as we can to be removed. And when I've finished, I just hit OK. And then you see it selects the background. Now, an old version of Photoshop, I just remember I thought I always hit delete. Now doing that, it turns it white now. So I don't know if they've changed something, what's going on with that, or maybe my memory's wrong. I've also noticed they've added this generative fill, and I know like everyone else, Photoshop's big on the whole AI thing, and that's what they're working on now. So I played around a little bit to try to figure out, hey, what's the new method of doing this? And the first step is to invert your selection, because you do have the background selected. So now we'll just select the foreground. Then we'll go to Edit and Cut, and you can see, all the foreground is gone. File, New, and then we'll just create custom size from the clipboard because it's going to be the same size. It's really not going to matter for ours. And then we'll paste. And there we have our transparent map in this case. So all the background's been removed. You can overlay this, which is what we want to do. That's our final goal here. And that's what it looks like. So at this point, you just save it to your computer. In my case, I don't want to save it as a Photoshop. I'll save it as a TIFF. I guess you could save it as a JPEG. You might lose some quality. I don't think it's going to matter. Maybe probably on a scan map like this. But in my case, I'm going to save it as a TIFF. That is a larger file size. And we'll move on to step 2. Okay, so now we have our background removed from our map. It's saved. So now we're going to Georeference and Rectify this map. So the paper map, while we might know where it's at on the street, we kind of want to, I guess the word might be truthing in layman's terms, or we kind of want to put that paper map on top of a modern map so we can better utilize it. So in this case, again, I'm going to use Global Mapper. So this is a program, it is a paid program. This is how I learned. It's still the program I use for Georeference. You can do it in ArcGIS Pro, which is another paid program. You can do it in QGIS, which is a free program. Again, this is what I'm most comfortable with. For showing this, I'm going to use my method. So the first thing we'll do is go up here to the little globe icon, and you go to Popular Sources, and then World Street Map, and I've already got it loaded up, so I'll check that. So here we are in essentially downtown Aniana, since that's where our 1930 Sandburn map is centered. The second thing I want to do is the county provides a REST server, which is going to be parcel, city limit, county data, things such as that. You'll kind of copy the URL link from that. I won't show all that. Then you add it as a new source. Anyways, I've got it appear down here. It's Blount County Parcels. I'll load that up. And when you're loading this comes from the internet, so it depends on your download speed, but it might take a while to generate. Essentially, you see all the different parcels, how it's divided up. Now, the third thing is we'll load in our map that we took the background off. That's transparent now. So for that you'll go to the folder icon. You'll open your data file if you save it to your desktop, OneDrive, My Documents, My Pictures. You'll just click on it, load that directory. It'll load in here. It might pop up a little thing saying, hey, it's not Georeference or Rectify. Would you like to do that? You hit yes, and it goes to this. So I've already filled this out. I've already got it Georeference and rectified. But I'll kind of zoom in and show you how that works. So you have all of your data points down here, and you go, so you'll take, let's say, point 36. So that's on the corner of 2nd Street North and 4th Avenue, which we have pulled up on the map here. Let me move it out of the way. So you can see at the time it was North 4th, North 3rd, and now that's 4th East, 3rd Avenue East. So that's they've had a slight change in name. Your avenues are, back in 1930s was north and south, and now they are east and west, and the opposites happened in the street. So your street at this time was east and west, and now it's north and south. But anyway, so we go to our current map on the parcel data. We know the corner of this lot's 0.36, and since this is laid out in lots, we know this corner right here is 36. The opposite corner next to 3rd Avenue is 33. Again, we click on our current map, click on this one, and then add point. Then we have the alleyway here, and the alleyway still exists. So the south side of the avenue, 34, click here, add point, and the north part, 35, click, add point, and that's how you kind of do that all around this map in different spots. I'll try to zoom out all the different spots, and then when you're done, hit apply, hit OK, and then the map will appear. I'll zoom in a little bit, get a better view of it. The map will appear on our current map. So now we've georeferenced, rectified this map, and I will say this: you can kind of see for the most part the lot lines match up. And the more data points you add, the more accurate it will be. Let me say that as well. But there is going to be some deviations and some errors. So you can kind of see around here, around 1st Street and 3rd Avenue, there's a little bit of, and that's just the way it is with a drawn map. There's always going to be a little bit of errors in it, and there's nothing you can do about that. But this map is probably one of the more accurate ones I've ever done, and it was a Sanborn Fire Insurance map, so it's supposed to be accurate. But you get down here in the downtown section, you see how the buildings are very small lots, and they're very accurate to what we have today. So at that point, I kind of want to show you there's a little trial and error here. So now that we have it georeferenced, we want it. Eventually, we want to upload it to the internet so anyone can view it. That's my goal here, and so that's what I want to show you how to do as well. So we'll right click on the layer that we just georeferenced. Then go to Layer, Export. Now load that layer up as a GeoTIFF. You can do different types if that you want to. For this, I'm going to use a GeoTIFF. And for all the experimenting I did, the way I'm uploading it, the method I did here was what worked best for me. So at this point, we'll go 24-bit RGB, and I want to show you the wrong way I did it first. And I was like, what's going on? So make the background pixels transparent. So we want to preserve our transparency. Hit OK, save it. Now I'm going to go to ArcGIS Pro. This is for the second part of this. At the time I saved that one is on a test. Well, once we load it in this program, we see that, well, it's not transparent. Even though I checked transparent, what's going on? Now, I can't explain to you really what's going on. I did some reading, and I probably should have wrote it down, but for this, I won't get that deep into it. But I'll show you how I fixed it. So we'll go back to Global Mapper. We'll right-click, go to Options, And then when this pops up, you see that we have this here. You want to set your transparency color. In this case, you want to set it to white. And make sure your transparency is checked. Hit apply. And then we'll go back through the same process again. Layer, export. Export it as your GeoTIFF. Continue to make sure that your transparency is checked here. I'm not sure if it really makes a difference. At that point, hit OK. And then, now we got the same process again. Upload the new TIFF that we exported, and here we go. Transparency works. Everything looks great. Colors are a little off from what the original scan was. Now I played around with different settings, 8-bit, 24 bits actually what I used to export it here. Different lossless settings, compression settings, things such as that. And for what I'm using, this color is fine. Now, if you're doing something different, you want to preserve the colors of your paper map, make them really accurate, you'll have to go with a different method or play around some more. What little bit I did, I couldn't figure it out, but this works for me, so that's kind of what I went with. Now, from here, we want to take it to step 3, which is getting it online to where it's publicly viewable. Now, the GeoTIFF that we exported, whether it be GeoTIFF, PNG, GeoPDF, or JPEG, ArcGIS Online, which is what I'm using, won't take that. They want you to buy a paid version for the hosting. So the only way you can get it is a KML file, which is Google Earth. I think I'm not sure it's open source, but it's probably a more, it doesn't take up the space that a TIFF would take up. So I'm sure this TIFF right here is probably 100 or more megabytes, and the GeoTIFF, KML, will be probably 5 megabytes or less. So once we have it loaded in ArcGIS Pro, you go to your geoprocessing, and then we'll look for a tool which is Layer to KML. Now at that point, we'll find the input layer, which is the GeoTIFF 24-bit, and then we'll have the output file we'll put on our desktop, the KML. Things such as your processing extent, just the current layer, which is all we want to export. We don't want to export any of this background stuff or anything else. And then I was playing around with the size of returned image pixels and things like that. Of course, 1024 96 DPI, you're not going to get a very high quality image. So I think I put in 7,000 on the export that I've already done, and that's in pixels. And then the DPI I put 1200. So that gives you a very high quality KML export. There might be some loss in it. I couldn't really tell anything. I put the TIFF and the KML side by side using these settings, and everything looked great. But now we would run it, and we'll go to step 3, which is uploading it and getting it publicly online. Okay, so for this last portion, we're going to take what started as a paper map that was scanned in, remove the background, georeference and rectified it, and then we're going to put it on the online essentially to where it's publicly viewable, and we can kind of manipulate it and do things with it from there. So your first step will be to create an ArcGIS Online account, and I'm sure there's other ways you can do it if you have access to a geodatabase or things such as that. This is free, so you create your account, and then once you have it created and you're logged in, you can go to Content, and then I've created a folder called Aniana. It says drag and drop files here. So we'll get our Finder, and then here's the KMZ we created and exported in ArcGIS Pro. We'll just drop it in, and for this, we'll keep the title the same. Put it in the folder. I'm not going to add any tags. You can add a tag and a summary, and then we'll hit save. And this will take a minute. So for the GIS, upload the KMZ. So it's going to check the status, depending on how big of a file it is, how much details are in it. That could take a while. It's got to process it. Also depending on your internet speed. So once it's finished, it should pop up another box, and it will give us another chance to put in some tags, a summary, things like a description. Let's see, terms of use. Now that it's popped up, we can the tags are down here, and it also gives us a URL for our for this layer. It also generates a thumbnail. Let's open it up in the map viewer now. zooms to it. So now we can see our fully transparent paper map overlaid on a modern map. Over here in the transparency, you can do things like kind of mess with the transparency. And this is much snappier here on ArcGIS Online than it was in Global Map or ArcGIS Pro as well. Let's go over here to, let's see, here's the little brick church on the corner. Let's change the base map. Right now we're on a topographic. We'll change it to imagery hybrid. So now it overlays what streets are what compared to the old. Again, we have the north changed to the east and the west changed to a north. But here is what's known as Little Brick Church. And then we'll come over here and we'll play with the transparency a little bit. So, we can up it and make it more transparent. And looking at it versus Little Brick Church, we can see how accurate that portion of the map is. It's very accurate. So let's move to downtown real quick again. We'll mess with the transparency slider. You see there's a few deviations here on this. The alleyway is a little off. The front of the buildings are a little off. But for the most part, it's still a very, very accurate representation of what was there and what is still there today in this case. So that's pretty much the end of the process here of showing you how this is done. Again, you can kind of do this with any map that you have of your own. Something like a Sanborn map that's down at the city street block level. It's going to be kind of highly detailed. Again, there's still going to be some erring as I just showed you, but you may have a map that's at a county view or something larger, and in that case, you remove the background and try to do an overlay like this. You're going to have obviously more erring in it. But any map that you have, this is essentially how you would remove the background, how my process the way to show you how to do it. So we'll go further in this project in the future. There's some things I want to do here with the Sanborn map, and I hope everyone can see that in upcoming blog posts and YouTube videos.